Welcome to Steel Spotlight Television. William Steel, True Crime, Mafia, Blockbuster Movies. We are in South Florida in Boca Raton for the premiere of Silent Partners by Cyril DePaggio, based on the book Fat Dave with Dave Iacchevetti. We're about to roll into a show here, keeping it up to date. Just coming off a little bit of an illness here. I'm fully recovered now, though, thank God. So we have Ignacio joining us remotely.
Ignacio, what's going on, man? You're looking better. I'm glad you're feeling better, man. It's never easy coming off something like that.
Listen, just real quick for my audience, because everybody's been asking. Fly down here. You know, my better half was asking me, please wear a mask, please wear a mask. And I'm all about masks. I do think they're helpful. But anyway, there's split opinions on that. And I didn't. And I got off the plane and I was sore and I was getting a sore throat the next day. And I thought, sometimes the plane, the cabin air, and then we had a 7-hour layover in Minneapolis. Shout out to friends of mine up there from the radio station, KRS. But I don't know. I just thought she tends to pack like everything, including the kitchen sink. I was extremely sore. And of course, why did you have to pack 90% of stuff you're never going to use? So I was very sore. And I just thought it was like from luggage and, maybe being a little out of shape, right? And it just got a little worse. And then like the next day she started feeling sick. And then I was sniffly and all that. And then I was like, okay, it's just a cold. And she caught it for me. And I feel like crap because I gave it to her. So she insists we get COVID tested about 3-4 days ago. And we both come up positive for COVID. Caught it on the plane. So here I am, my first week in South Florida, like COVID positive. Can't really meet all the people I was intending to meet. And so we already got our hands on what we believe works, but I'm not going to say it here because YouTube doesn't like that.
Yeah. Be careful with that.
Yep. So I did that, and I'm already testing negative, and she's still, recovering and feeling a lot better. Thank you, everybody, for the prayers. And we're here. And I want to share some other troubling news, too. So 2 guys passed away that are very, very prominent figures in the genre, that we're in. We're doing a showbiz thing and all that. And one is Kim Kahana. Kim Kahana is a legendary stuntman. He's in his 90s. He was body double for people like Charles Bronson, John Wayne, and like every famous action actor you've ever heard from like the 40s on up.
Yeah.
He had a stunt school. He trained everybody in Hollywood. He was all about safety. Documentary was made about him. I interviewed George Buzzio, who created the documentary.
Yes, I've talked to George a few times too, yes.
Over the last few months, Kim had agreed to come on this show. Legendary stuntman was going to, this guy is like Hollywood Walk of Fame material, right? He's on there. And it was a scheduling thing. He never got scheduled. He passed away a few days ago. So
yeah.
I feel
for family for sure.
And then we lost another one from Scarface movie.
I saw that. Yes.
Angel Salazar played Chi-Chi in the scene when there's a shootout on South Beach. The Colombian, the Cubans, and Tony Montana, finishes everybody off, and he says he sees the yay in the thing, and he says, "Cheech, get the yay." So Cheech get the yay, the little guy with the fedora-looking hat. For decades was known. He was doing events. He was doing meet and greets, autographs. He became a stand-up comic. Everybody I know knows this guy, but I never met him because I've been locked up 18 years. Everybody down here going to introduce him.
And he was in his 60s, right?
Yep. And he was probably going to be on the show, and I was going to include him in my movie, in my drama series about my life. I was going to give him a spot.
Our condolences again to their family too. That's always awful to them. So.
And I will say one thing: this is a reflection on life, whether it's coming down with COVID or people like suddenly dying. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're one breath away from meeting our Maker. And I believe what the Bible says: life is but a vapor. Make the most of it. Somebody says they want to come on the show. I really feel it's my obligation to get them on as soon as possible because, Ignacio, one of the things I ask a lot of my guests at the end of the show: if the good Lord was to take you home today, what would you like your legacy
to remember for? Yeah, for sure.
What do you want to be remembered for your family? And so I think it would have been incredibly poignant had I had a chance to interview the both of them.
That would be nice. That's a great thing about this platform, and I enjoy. We've been co-hosts now for I think over almost 2 years now in October, 2 years in October doing shows together, Bill. It's hard to believe. We've done quite a few, folks. So go check them out. Go to YouTube. Go to Rumble. Put in our shows and check out old shows. We've talked about everything. It's not the same material. I want you to understand, folks. We do a show that we put in current events, politics, life experiences. Everything gets put in here, and it's entertaining because Bill and I have lived very interesting lives. A lot of experience on a lot of things we can talk about here. We politics, but one thing about traveling, which was very successful for me in Europe, and you mentioned having big bags, and especially if you're staying in a location that you have washer and dryer, right? Save the money. Don't do the check-in bags. We spend all the extra money they're going to charge you with these seats. Carry on, right? Because you can have the carry-on for free that goes on top, and then bring a backpack that you can fit on the bottom, the seat in front of you, right? And then when you have a place to washer and dryer, just use that, and that saves you extra time and money, and it's not as heavy, and you don't have to wait as long. Nothing's worse when the bags get lost or it takes forever to offload and you're wasting time. We have carry-on, go, and now it's nice in Europe. Got the bags, they're in our hands, we have control of them, and we leave. I hate losing control of my bags.
Yep, and I want to reintroduce a few things for new people that are joining us because we're suddenly increasing numbers at a decent rate, which I like.
That's good.
I'm trying to get more shows up, more consistent. So Ignacio, to let everybody know, is retired ATF agent, 30 years, author of over 80 books. This is his autobiography, available on Amazon and Audible. So check out his book. We have other co-hosts. We have Ignacio there on the left. We have Mary, my fiance. She does wrongful conviction cases with me. She's a genius. This girl got into UC Berkeley at 15 years old. She's very, very smart forensic accountant.
Excellent.
And then Frank Lordi, former commissioner in Ohio. Frank's been a real blessing. I asked him repeatedly to join me on this trip, and yourself as well. I asked, how many times did I ask you to come? You have obligations with family.
Yeah, it's difficult for me. I have a lot of obligations with my families and school starting and other activities and a lot of curricular activities, and we're involved in a lot of things.
Yeah, Frank's something similar. He's dealing with some business issues that he's getting ready to retire. Family, church, this, that, and health. He had a hip replacement.
Oh, wow.
I've invited him so many times, and it was so weird because people who just don't know what they're talking about comment. Somebody put a public comment saying, because I give shout out to Frank, and I always try to include him in everything. It's too bad you didn't invite Frank there after all he's done for you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I could show you 20 or 30 texts where I'm like, try to make time to come to Florida. We got a place to stay. I'll get you in the venue for free.
That's odd. That's like an insider comment.
Yeah, but no, that's his sister. I'm not going to say her name here. I got you. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? You're not even part of what's going on. And
anything else from Dr. Scholl talking about weird comments?
Yeah, all the time I get word from different people that he's still stewing because nobody will help him spread his lie. He told somebody, "Oh, you must be delusional to believe Bill, and he's a career criminal, and this and that." And a friend of mine told him, "If you're a Christian, don't you know the story of Saul in the Bible? Saul was killing Christians, and he turned his life around, very, very contrite, and became Paul. I mean, a pillar of the faith. I mean, Christianity is replete with stories of people who turned their life around. People far worse than Bill. I'm not the biggest monster on the planet. I mean, what the heck, But anyway, so he wants people to continue to believe that he was entrapped, and let's locate FBI agents in their home and all. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not helping you locate a retired agent. I'm not helping you.
Yeah, can't do that other stuff. No, absolutely.
Yes, not. He was not because we brought the subject up. I will say this: we saw the 302s. We heard the recordings. He was plotting the murders of 3 people with the informant. He was shown pictures of one of them deceased. Was happy. The kids, his 5 minor children, were heard playing in the background, playing nearby, while he told the informant, make sure, you get the wife in the morning, but wait for my kids to go to school. Here's
soliciting an informant working for the FBI to kill his wife.
Right. And so what happened was they eventually lock him up, and they only charged him. Well, they charged him with everything: 3 counts of murder for hire, attempted murder for hire, and then the transfer of the silencer and conversion kits, machine gun conversion kits, which he said, well, I was grandfathered in. Those kits were legal when I got them. Whatever.
How about the silencers?
Right. He couldn't. The one that he transferred was to be used in the hit, by the way.
Oh, wow.
He goes, well, the decibels of it is hardly a silencer. And I'm like, it doesn't make a difference. You're arguing things that are not even legally arguable.
That's
The point is, he tells everybody he was entrapped when his own words say what the plan was. I want the public to know, if you're watching this and you know Dr. Scholl, Leslie Marlin Scholl, his murder for hire charges were dropped in exchange for a plea bargain to the lesser charges of transferring a silencer. In other words, he got a break. And
that sounds like a big break. Yeah, he got a big break there.
And he's ingrateful. And he got out after 13 years for that because, in my opinion, he felt if he took the 3 counts of murder for hire, he would have lost out on his rights on the divorce to get his money, which he was trying to fight. He was fighting over $7 million with his wife.
Oh, wow.
The problem is the divorce judge, and we heard that evidence as well, was allowed to hear about, he heard the tapes of him plotting to kill the mother when the kids went to school, and said, I don't want to hear anything else. There's a lower standard of evidence in divorce court. You did try to kill her. You're not getting everything. I'm giving everything to her.
Wow. So, that's a big hit.
He's been telling lies to people since he's been out of prison. We wished him well in the beginning. We were willing to help him get his medical license back. Once we even found out he was lying, we said, just start telling the truth and be contrite and try to help people, and we'll still help you. He wouldn't do any of that. He just was so bitter.
That's awful.
This is a guy who was one of the top overprescribers of Oxycontin in the state of Indiana, wearing a bulletproof vest, a Kevlar-lined lab coat, and a silenced pistol to work with an ATV in his garage, an APV, armored personnel carrier. This is a doctor. Come on. And now you want my help? After 13 years in prison, if you didn't wake up and say, wow, I could have got 30 years, there's something wrong with you. There's something inherently wrong with your head.
13 years is a lot of time, Bill. That's a lot of time.
It is. It's enough time, to think about what the hell you did wrong. And, man, I just screwed up. I just want to get back with my kids.
That's a lost decade, Bill. That's a lost decade in your life. That's awful. I just brought up there because different things. You mentioned comments. I remember his comments also. So Dr. Scholl is someone to look at for and see what else comes around there. All right. Let's talk about some current events. A lot going on in the world. Like every week we do a new show, and I know we got some other shows still going to be posted that we've talked about in the past. Let's talk about Zelensky's courageous decision to send his guys over the Russian border and take the war to Putin and the Kremlin. They're in the Kursk region, and they're making lots of ground, and a lot of villages are being evacuated. And what an embarrassment to Putin. I mean, he talks a big game, but yet the Ukrainians now taking over parts of Russia. An embarrassment. They're going to have to relocate their troops in the disputed territories area and now try and deal with this mess. This is a big win. Maybe this is going to help them get the advantage they need, and maybe at the end push the ceasefire deal where they get out of their area. Say, you'll get back your old Russia. You get the heck out of Ukraine. And maybe this is the whole deal now. We're taking part of this. And I imagine they're going to take a lot of prisoners. And because they've taken a lot of Ukrainian prisoners. So this might be leverage enough to start putting this war to bed.
You know what's interesting? They had this guy that was in charge of Russia's special troops. I forget the guy's name, who eventually was turned on Putin and started coming in.
Oh, yeah. Wagner. He was the chief of Wagner, remember?
Yep. And if that guy was alive now in cahoots with this guy, they could have unseated Putin and just walked away.
Remember, very why would he turn himself to Belarus? Let's recap. And we did a lot of videos and talk about. He was so close. Putin had evacuated the Kremlin. They were less than 40 miles, Bill. But the military stood the ground because they knew who he was. And they said, you know what? If you're going to take over, take over. We're behind you. They didn't support the war. He stopped 40 miles, around 40, 30 miles short of the Kremlin. Big mistake. And Putin said, yeah, go to Belarus and you'll be okay. We're not going to see you. Guess what? A few months later, his plane gets shot down. He gets killed. Once you do a move like that, you got to go all the way because there's no coming back from that.
There's no coming back. I remember seeing footage of him in like a military camp, like in his underwear, sitting there kind of in custody in Belarus, essentially, in the beginning of this. And then I guess they freed him, but they tracked his movements. Like you said, we already knew he was going to turn up dead. And the second he took a flight, somebody hit it with like a Stinger missile or whatever they used.
They can't do that. And that just killed him. It killed a lot of people with him. And it's one of those things where you do a move like that, you're bracing enough to take over areas, you're fed up with the war, you're criticizing Putin, where you were friends one time and you did his dirty battles in Africa, in Central Africa, right, for Wagner Group. And they were doing a lot of things in Africa and other places for him. You know what? Look what happens now. So you have to finish the job. But Zelensky is different. He knows what he's doing there, and he's going to have to force those guys around. So good for them. Check what's going on. Huge embarrassment for Vladimir Putin. He's slapping his face. His big man ego is taking a beating.
I know. Before we flew down to Florida here, the big news was, and I haven't caught a lot of it now, so I'm kind of relying on you here. There was talk that Iran had threatened that they are going to directly attack Israel, and I do know one of Israel's policies are, when you're a legitimate threat and making those kind of threats, their policy is kill them first. So I suspect if that was said, that Israel will certainly strike somewhere first or try to annihilate Iran like pretty soon.
U.S. is concerned because what I'm also hearing is and reading about is aircraft carriers are getting closer to the region in anticipation of a massive retaliation. Because why? They've been going back and forth, tick for tack. Israel recently assassinated the head of Hamas in Iran and the head of Hezbollah in Beirut, an apartment in Lebanon. So it's getting heated, but it's going to be one of those battles where they're going to coordinate the Iranians with the Syrian rebels, with Hezbollah and Hamas, and joint effort to once and for all, from the rivers to the seas. What they want, Israel's ready. It's going to battle, but guess what? So the U.S. But then you have the problem is it's political, right? And they're worried about the Palestinian. If you haven't seen it, a couple of weeks ago, awful images here in Union Station, D.C. area, where because Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, was speaking in front of Congress. Kamala Harris decided not to show up, right? Massive protests, bringing down the American flags that were hanging in Union Station, putting Palestinian flags up. They're facing a lot of different monuments. The Liberty Bell, they have a replica we have here at Union Station, and putting Hamas and PLO's crap all over it. Unbelievable. That's shows what she is.
And so, I'm working with a guy, and I'd like people to check out his show. I mean, there's no harm in giving Roger a shout out here. So it's Citizen Joe. I don't have the full site right in front of me at the moment, so we're going to be collaborating with him on a few things. So he's a little over the top, Joe. He's very passionate about his politics and about Trump.
I did a show with Roger. I know Roger, so I did a show with him.
So I know him a brief time. He's endearing, but he's very overpowering. He used to be a radio personality, orchestral guy. JoeCitizenShow.com, JoeCitizenShow.com, and so check out Roger Homefield, his YouTube. We're trying to bring.
He has some interesting characters on the show, that's for sure.
He does comedy parody of different things, political. But check out his YouTube channel. I'll put a link to it. It's Roger Homefield. And he's got very, very, small following, and we're trying to bring his numbers up. So if you guys can do me a favor and go over there and subscribe to the man's channel, his clips are very short. Some of them are 10 or 15 minutes long. I think
you'll find our show we did, and I think what's his name? Jaguar, Gigi Jaguar.
I can't hear you. I got something in my eye.
Oh,
yeah. So I spoke to him the other day as well, and clarified a few things and what was going on. But I also like to thank, Tom Madden and Adrian from Transmedia for this introduction. But so Roger's a character. I met him, and I would love everybody to go over there and follow him. I will put a link for his stuff in our description.
Good.
Please help me bring his numbers up, guys. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to my channel, his channel. But in the YouTube algorithm, it does mean that we make a few extra pennies, at the end of the year, a month, or whatever it is.
And might as well also subscribe to my YouTube channel, too. I have over 45 videos in there. Check them out too. Please put them in there. Also, I got Rumble channel. Also, got like 25.
Say the name of your channel again on my show.
Is it Ignacio Esteban? Ignacio Esteban. Yeah, YouTube channel. I have about 45 videos there. Some political stuff and some everything else. I've been a while, but I've been focused a lot on Medium. We're talking about that. Check out all the articles.
Here's what I usually do, Ignacio. So I don't know how often you look over my description section, but generally. It's revised very infrequently, maybe every few months. Send me clarification of every link you want in yours.
Okay, sure.
And what I'm going to do is revise mine. Probably today is one of the things I plan to do anyway.
Yeah, I'll send some new stuff.
Yeah, and I'm going to revise the write-up for our shows and the links for our shows.
The one that's always dear and true, obviously, if we got ATF Undercover, you see the cover behind me, the poster cover. Amazon, you can check me on Amazon, Ignacio Esteban. Check your books out on Amazon. Audible, I'm also Audible. If you're not a big reader, ATF Undercover and the most dangerous crime cynics of our time are on Audible. You can listen, use your credits. A lot of people have a lot of credits. Use your credits. They're good information about my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly of ATF and dangerous crimes. Oh, this is another good one too, which I'm trying to work different things here. It's sports, politics, true crime, a little bit of everything here. Tennis. That's the one I'm talking about. That's on Audible right now. Tyrants and Killers. I'm trying to get that there done with Rick Font, doing that one. So there's a lot of stuff here. The most heinous killers and murders. These are long reads, good reads too. People like all this stuff here. And I just did an article yesterday on LA gang wars. LA gang wars.
Keep in mind, he's talking about Medium. He does articles there now that are doing well. Check him out. Subscribe to his Medium channel.
Yeah, please.
I put one out also. I'm trying to
follow me, please follow me, and give me a lot of claps. That helps. Give me a lot of claps. And Medium is good because it's not just, there's so many good writers out there. So if you're a centrist, there's a lot of good writers. If you're on the right, left, I mean, you can find the politics, current events, or whatever you want to talk about. It could be anything. I've really become a big fan of Medium. I've become a big fan. And a lot of people also get interviewed. Medium does a lot of interviews too. So that's something possible that could happen to me, get interviewed out there also because I've become a prolific writer. And some say, possibly, but my numbers, I could be the most prolific writer of the 21st century. We'll see. The most books at least written, 55 books. Barbara Caitlin, I have her name written down here, did 20-something. Yeah. And romance novels, and I did 55 in 1 year. And a lot of people think that could be the record. But JWR, Guinness World Record, doesn't give them out anymore.
You could submit to the Guinness Book of World Records, perhaps, right?
Perhaps, but we'll see.
So we want to give a shout out also to Louis B., former organized crime detective. He's going to be joining us for Silent Partners premiere, and this is our Mafia Monday segment. I also want to give a shout out to Lou. Now, Lou's going to come on the show with me and you one of these days. The gentleman on the left, they were partners in an organized crime case. They're best friends today. He's currently in Italy right now, so he's nice. When he gets back, he lives here in Florida part-time and up north part-time. So we're going to collaborate, get together.
I'm thinking about Italy for next summer with my family. Thinking about doing Rome, then going to Florence, and then going up to Venice and Vicenza and Padua and all that region. I love that whole area there. I with my wife. Actually, quick story here. That's where I proposed to my wife, which is my wife now, was in Venice during Carnival off the Rialto Bridge. Very romantic. Everybody's dressed in their costumes. The famous Venetian fog, very beautiful. It's a little chilly, but I recommend Venice during the Carnival area. Very special time in Venice for sure if you haven't been there. But we'll check in the summer with my family, with my girls, so they can see it, and we'll show them where I proposed to my wife off the Rialto Bridge.
Where it all began. I'm trying to see who else we got here that needs a shout out here. I don't want to leave anybody out. So we got Fat Dave's book, Dave Iacchevetti, Club TV. Check him out. We got Silent Partners. The reason I'm here, I have I'm not bragging, that I have a big role in this movie. I don't. Thank you, Cyril, for what he gave me. But he's putting me in some other movies, as is Dave.
Oh, and then good. Fun times.
So, and then my show's in season 2. The fans are a little irritated that I'm not in season 2, but I'm Bill from season 1 of Inmate to Roommate on A&E.
All right.
And Mary and
I've seen a few episodes. Very good.
So there's myself with Mary and Kim Kardashian. Obviously we're not all in the same room at the same time, but Kim, Mary, and myself are the only reality stars in this country working with wrongful convictions cases, trying to help people that are innocent and in prison. So we're also in town with Peter Tickton. He's going to be coming on the show here soon, hopefully in the next few days.
Yeah, we did a show together. That was good. We had a good show together with Peter. And I've talked to him also before.
Peter's one of Donald Trump's best friends. He wrote a book about him. He's also the attorney who filed the racketeering case against Hillary Clinton. And so we all talk about Trump all the time. And hopefully something can happen to turn this country around before it falls off a cliff with this.
Well, talk about that. That's a good segue since we have a lot to talk about still. Tim Waltz, man, he is appearing to be a big pathological liar. He's being caught lies after lies after lies now. He let people know he was in a DUI accident. He was speeding over 95 miles an hour. He was in I want to say Nebraska, and the troopers got him speeding. He tested very high for alcohol, way above what his limit is supposed to be. But when he ran for Congress, he denied it, that he was drunk, even though he pled guilty to it. He admits it in court, and he said he was just speeding. and then he had to change his story when he ran for governor about 6 years ago. And then he said, no, it was a changing point in his life. Now his to-go drink is Diet Mountain Dew. That's his to-go drink now. Everything for him, he has spun this story around left, right, denying it, yes, changing it, admit to it. Like, he's not a combat war veteran. He said he served because he was trying to get the assault weapons ban passed in Minnesota. And he said, these are weapons I had used in combat.
To be clear, I think he's governor of Minnesota, and he's Kamala Harris's pick for vice president. The woman with the most horrible judgment in the country, known for horrible judgment. Everybody quits her office, cannot stand working for the woman.
Cackling Kamala.
Incompetent, word salad. She picked this guy. Actually, that was the very day that we were stranded in the airport in Minneapolis. I'd never been.
That's right. Tell me that. Right.
7 hours. We had a layover over there.
You know what really bothered me more about this guy, Bill? What he did as governor did not. Oh, I'm sorry. What he didn't do when Minneapolis was burning during the George Floyd riots. You know, he I think I mentioned last time on the show. He's like a modern day Nero. He sat there. Your job is to protect and serve, right, and protect your people of your state. He led these businesses, and you listen to the interviews. I sent you some over there. These are Democrats. Democratic mayor begging for help. The chief of police in Minneapolis begging for help, right? Asking Senate troops, we're losing control of the city. They're taking over, right? And he spent 3 more days, and the city burned, and businesses were lost. ATF was a big part of this. Federal agents were involved. These guys were using Molotov cocktails, which is unregistered destructive device. They were arsoning. They were burning businesses. ATF was involved in that also. They were using weapons. I mean, it was just awful, the situation was going on there. ATF, because I was at the time still at ATF headquarters, and I was part of the Central Division, and I was monitoring a lot of things that were going on in Minneapolis at that time there. Bill, that governor should be ashamed. He has no place to be vice president or even a heartbeat away from the presidency. Oh, he's a lovable coach? No, he's not. You know what he's trying to do now? He's trying to have the highest state income tax in the country, 10%. Oh, I think I lost you there, Bill.
Are you there?
Yep, I'm here, man. I lost you there for a little bit. You're back.
Let me mark that time because I have to cut that out. It just went completely blank, and then I couldn't figure out how to get back on, but I learned it this time. I got myself.
Look at it maybe at 27, like 30 or something.
Yeah, I'll review it at 27. I don't even have a pen right in front of me, but I'll just remember 27 when we
27. Can't forget that. So I left talking about.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
My nose is running. My throat. My throat's starting.
No problem. When you're recovering from COVID, man, it's not easy. A lot of symptoms.
Shit's still coming out of my lungs a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I like I said, I was vaccinated. I had the 2 Pfizer shots and a Moderna, and I still got COVID later, but very little symptoms or anything. It was just very light, and I eat well. I work out, very healthy. Don't have any pre-existing conditions, so those are all good factors that help me out there. So
I eat well too. It's just from a different perspective.
Different perspective, you do. You're in the seafood diet, right, Bill?
Listen to this.
You seafood, you eat it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this one on the air. Remember to tell you about my venue on the 25th. All right, let's roll back into. So we're continuing to talk about
Waltz. All right. So we're going back to Waltz, and I was at the time ATF headquarters. You're looking at summer 2020, the Floyd riots. My area of coverage at headquarters was the Central Division, which is including St. Paul Field Division, and we're monitoring a lot what was going on, and to see the governor not act quicker and get the National Guards out there to defend and protect businesses in the area of Minneapolis. To me, it's wrong that he was okay with it. And his daughter kind of made allegedly an inappropriate text message on X, or then it was called Twitter, saying that, hey, my dad's not sending the National Guard yet. Give people a heads up, keep on rioting. I mean, 2 wrongs don't make a right. That was wrong what happened to Floyd. What they did was just awful. to the community and to their. And Bill, he's a socialist. There's no way around it. He has some of the most ultra liberal policies. Him and Kamala is an ultra socialist liberal in the Senate, and then look at what's going on here.
I don't know where they testified, but I caught something when I was surfing around trying to get caught up yesterday. It might have been in the last day or so, but the police department, police officers, some of them retired now from Minneapolis, are testifying. I don't know if it was in front of Congress or their legislative body there, saying that he's such a disgrace, and they were so scared, for their lives, and it was the most humiliating day of their entire lives to be told to surrender to the police department.
The third precinct got burned down.
Many of them, because he denied saying that, evidently he'd been lying about it, and they said, we heard him on the call. The governor called and said to give up the precinct, leave the precinct.
Give the precinct. He has a pattern. Look at this pattern we've seen now. A pattern with a DUI that he denied it when he ran for Congress. The pattern of, and J.D. Vance brought this up. He was National Guard, respected service, but when he was supposed to be activated to go to Iraq, he left his unit when he said, okay, it's time to retire now because I don't want to be sent out there. And he claimed he was, when he was in Vicenza, helping Afghanistan, but you were in Vicenza. You in Italy. You were not in Afghanistan. You were in Vicenza. That's a nice place to be.
The battle was fierce in Vicenza.
Yeah, I bet it was there. About the Battle of the Bulger. So you got that, and then you have the lies now in Minneapolis. What happened when he was governor? The mayor made it clear we need help. The chief made it clear in emails we need help. The OIG report made it clear he sat on there and did nothing. And now he wants a 10% state income tax. He wants to ban assault weapons. He is awful. He is an awful. So you look at a lot of Democrats, and maybe this will hurt. Maybe he'll lose Minnesota. They haven't lost Minnesota since last time. I think Richard Nixon won Minnesota. Last time a Republican won Minnesota was, I think, 1972 when Nixon won. So Reagan almost did with Mondale, but that's the only state Mondale won in 1984. His home state. So maybe he'll lose this one because he's so bad. Al Gore couldn't even win Tennessee in 2000. He was so bad. So maybe he'll be another Al Gore in that sense, and history repeats itself. He can win his own home state, and that will cost her everything at the end because all the skeletons are coming out. She's regretting for not picking Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, and everything. He would have been a better pick, but she was afraid of the wokes out there that are pro-Arab, pro-Muslim, that hate Israel, that see Israel as an oppressor, and they don't want it, a Jewish guy on the ticket. Lieberman was on there in 2000 also. Right. So it's like unprecedented or anything. So awful. He passed away recently.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did. Senator, yeah, he was former senator from Connecticut for many years, Lieberman. So I think we have to keep an eye on this guy Waltz. Now JD and him are arguing debate. I think in October. It could be October 1st or so. The date's out there. I might be wrong about that. And also disappointing, Bill, RFK Jr. What the heck just happened here with RFK? He was going to be this guy independent after how the Democratic Party treated him so badly, right? Maybe no, he won't be now the next president. That's for sure. You know what he's going to be? He's trying to get a cabinet spot with Harris. He might back out of the race now.
They're all snakes. Some of these Democrats are such snakes.
Unbelievable.
He supported all Trump's policies pretty much. Said he'd rather, he believes more with what Trump's doing than Biden. Now he's pandering back to Kamala to be on the cabinet.
That's awful. That's awful. She's worse than Biden. She's worse than Biden. Anyway, stumbling, bumbling Joe or cackling Kamala.
Well, she has really bad judgment, so maybe she will trust a guy who's proven to be a traitor to let into her inner circle.
Coconuts falling. Remember, hey, what do you think? We just saw the coconuts fall off the trees. Remember that famous about the coconuts falling off her head? Maybe a coconut fell on her head once. I don't know, and that's why she's scatterbrained. The coconut fell on her head.
They have these sites where they make fun of all the weird things she said, and the other day she said something
awful.
She was speaking to like tech executives or something, and she was talking about it's not like before when your personal information was in a file cabinet locked in your closet, your personal documents. Now it's like in the cloud, and the cloud is like somewhere.
The cloud's up here
above us in the sky.
No, it's not. She's awful. She's awful. And then about electric buses, and it says, "I love electric buses." I grew up being bused to school. Remember, that's not an electric bus. That's a regular fuel bus. How many of you guys, and this is talk to the audience, love buses? How many of you guys also are bused to school? But what does a regular bus have to do with an electric bus? Two different things. And why are you bringing that up like that? It's like you're like, what? What? You're scratching your head there. Or talking about Ukraine. Yeah, Russia is a big country invading Ukraine. Ukraine is a poor country, smaller country. Russia, I mean, it's like, what the heck? You're talking
It's like she's trying to explain it to a kindergartner and still doesn't have the facts right. I can't wait for her to one day say, I traveled from South Florida to the Bahamas and we rode bikes out there. It wasn't far away.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. You know, they used to really make fun of Sarah Palin. And it's funny how the Democrats, remember she said, I can see Russia from my house. Maybe she embellished. She couldn't see really Russia from that. But her point was is very close. But Kamala's, man, she makes, remember she said North Korea is her greatest ally when she was at DMZ?
Here's the thing.
I mean, it's an enemy.
What certain people say is a kind of a figure of speech. Now, my understanding is if you're on a high point by the Bering Straits on a very clear day, you can see Russia.
But she wasn't there.
But so she's being figure her speech. Alaska is her house. In my opinion, she, as a figure of speech, she meant under perfect conditions, we can see Russia.
But they were brutal with Sarah. They were absolutely brutal. Just like Dan Quayle when he misspelled potato. Remember that? I mean, they were kind of brutal. But those two are nothing compared how bad these two are, right? I mean, this guy Waltz is an absolute liar. He just lies about everything, and she's a liar. And then she's saying Trump is going to cut Social Security. Not true at all. Trump's the opposite. In fact, he doesn't want you paying federal taxes on your Social Security income. How about that, Bill? That's pretty good.
And not on that, and not on tips.
No tips, and then she's stealing that idea now too. So if she likes an idea, she steals the idea. She lies about the idea, and then she wants to do. I mean, she is really. This is no. I don't understand why. It shows me that the left only cares about their ideology, about their agenda, and they don't care what puppet they have there. That's what she's going to be. She's going to be a puppet. The other guy's going to be a puppet, and they're going to have the puppet masters behind the scenes.
They know they have so many people that are not.
Maybe Soros will run the country. Soros will be running the country.
They have so many people not paying attention that'll just vote because she's dark skinned. She doesn't know what to identify as, and they don't pay attention to the facts of what the lies, the insidious, consistent lies. What example are you teaching to your kids by voting for her? What all you had to do was look at her history and know she's a pathological liar with a horrendous education or recall or whatever it is, that nobody around her likes her, legitimately likes her.
And her husband also has issues. Doug Imhoff, Jewish American, liberal, right? First wife divorced, had an affair with the nanny in the house, taking care of their kids, gets her pregnated. I mean, what the heck? I don't know if I trust anything this guy does, right? Because he's unethical. He's not right what he's doing. So he'll be the first gentleman. I don't know. That's just an awful duo right there. Awful duo right there. And then you look at Trump's policies. The country was stronger in so many different ways. She will bring awful policies to the country.
Maybe he thinks every gentleman needs a concubine or something. I don't know. Paul Schwarzenegger looks at everybody's human. Everybody's makes mistakes.
Yeah, he made his mistakes too. And he saw a great documentary though. If you go to Netflix, go watch his documentary on him. He talks about his rise from being world champion bodybuilder to being the governor. And before being governor, of course, he was a mega superstar, major superstar right there, right? Terminators and all the other movies he's done in between. But he admits that was the biggest mistake of his life. He talks about that personally. He made a huge mistake. It destroyed his family, and it's not the same. So even with all the money, all success, a mistake like that, because Maria Shriver is a Kennedy, right? It's a Kennedy family, and she endorsed a Republican. Remember that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a catch-22. I mean, like me being a celebrity, when I put things positive about Trump, because that's just the way I feel, and and I see the lies coming out of the Democrat Party and how many people are fleeing the Democrats. I have fans say, "Oh, Bill, I didn't realize you were a Trumper," and I'm like, "I'm not a Trumper." I'm like, I like Trump because he gets things done, and if you might not like him personally, maybe he's a little arrogant or comes across arrogant, but guess what? The man got shot in the head.
You did. It shot in the ear, right? Shot
He's
in
a
the ear.
billionaire in his 70s or whatever. He doesn't have to do this
Almost
crap.
80. Yeah, almost 80.
He's doing it to help people. Can't they see that?
No, they don't care because they have their own agenda. Remember that. When
All
you have
these
your
other,
own agenda, you don't care.
all these other ones are doing it to see how many millions they can steal. He didn't need to steal a thing. He didn't take his presidential paycheck the whole time he was in office. I mean, don't you see you have a man who's genuinely trying to do the right thing just because you don't understand his New York demeanor, his
They don't like it. They don't care. They don't care.
personality.
But remember, people are going to be split. Democrat, Republican. They're going to vote for their party no matter who's there. They're fighting for the independents and moderates who are unsure, and that's why the battle for the swing state is so. That's why I think Harris made a big mistake in not picking Shapiro. Because I think he's very popular in Pennsylvania, and they would have gone Pennsylvania. Now I think with Waltz, maybe they even lose Minnesota now because all this is stirring back up, and a lot of people are angry at him for not doing the right thing in Minneapolis during George Floyd riots. He's somebody that I think we're going to see more lies about him, and I can't wait to see the debate between J.D. Vance. And if you haven't seen the movie, folks, go to Netflix and check out Hillbilly Elegy, based on his life that he wrote. It was a New York Times best-selling book that became a very popular movie directed by Ron Howard. And very big name actors out there. Amy Adams is in there playing his mom. I think it was a very good role there. And Glenn Close playing his mama, right? His grandmother, who had to help save his life pretty much and raise him. I think very touching story of himself from the Appalachians to Ohio, Milton, Ohio, to Yale Law School, being a Marine. And like I said, he'll be the first Marine, former Marine that becomes vice president. You know who I don't like now?
Oh, here it is right here. I was trying to look for that poster for you.
Yeah. Both did great roles. They both, I think, were nominated for different awards. It's Jesse the Body Ventura. He was also governor of Minnesota, right? Yeah. And, you have to be held accountable for your words. He likes to criticize Trump for lies or whatever he does. But what about Waltz? Why is he holding him not accountable? Oh, because he's a Democrat and it's okay for all the lies. His DUI, deny it. He was not drunk. Yes, he was. He shouldn't have been driving. His high-speed driving. And yes, you lied about it. You lied about that you were a combat veteran. Now you stepped that back. You lied about that you should have responded and you were incompetent. You sat on it while the city burned Minneapolis. I mean, it's just one after another after another. And Buttigieg is another guy who's that guy's another piece of work. The guy, the mayor from South Bend, Indiana, who himself wanted to become president. What big decisions he do? He maybe had prior military service, but he's another guy who's defending this guy, Waltz. No, hold people accountable for their lies and incompetency they have, but they'll do anything for their ideology and their party, and that's a problem.
When we were filming my reality show in Elkhart, Indiana, South Bend is just a few miles away. It's a bigger city.
I drove by it, and I didn't have a chance. I wanted to see Notre Dame, but we're going through it, going to South Dakota, and you know what? It's that was years ago. I don't know, man.
I did a couple of independent tours of Notre Dame and some impromptu filming of shows there. So South Bend has one or two nice areas. The rest is ultra high crime, very, very gang infested, and very dangerous. And that's all primarily because Buttigieg was mayor there. His claim to fame is like a walk area downtown that's like kind of been renovated, and there's lights. There's all these I don't even want to say they're rainbow lights, but so that's his claim to fame. There's lighting downtown.
I remember they used to make fun of him. They said, "What big decisions did Buttigieg make as mayor?" Well, he picked the lighting for South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah,
he ended up picking, doing this, and he guy, and now what's he now? He's the head of transportation, right? The director for transportation. What is our airports are a disaster in a lot of places. They need to be done. I mean, you look at train systems. There's so much has to be done. I doubt this administration did anything. And then Kamala Harris, which is a good point that J.D. Vance brought up, is that she's acting like she wasn't part of this administration. No, yes, you were. You were the border czar. And look at the famous interview by Holt on, I think, NBC, and asked her, and this is a famous line from her, I mean, you're the border czar. You haven't been to the border. He says, well, I haven't been to Europe either. What's your point? Oh, you mean, what? You're the border czar. What the hell has Europe has to do with border? Yeah, you have to go to the border. You have to do your job. You have to. I haven't been to Europe either. What's your point? You haven't been to Europe, and you're the vice president of the United States? What the?
She knows what the point is, but she wants to act like the question is the problem and not her lack of knowledge or
I have a problem that she hasn't been to Europe, and she's the
Right.
vice president of the United States.
Right.
What have you been doing? Where are you sitting in awful administration? Bumbling Joe, stumbling. Oh, so Bumbling Joe goes on to does his first interview since he decided not to, even though he wanted to, he was forced out. He's blaming Nancy Pelosi forcing him out. Joe Biden, 2.5 years ago, Bill predicted, Bill, one and done. One and done. And he goes in the history books worse than Carter, worse than LBJ. LBJ was his decision because of popularity in 68 of the Vietnam War. He's already done. Remember, he took after Kennedy's assassination. He won another term. So he's already did 6 years, a little over 6 years. He said, enough's enough. Let Nixon or someone else figure this problem out. I'm out. This guy, his own party said, Joe, you must go.
Check out Ignacio's book about the Biden one and done and his ATF Undercover. Links will be in the description. My books are out. One about Ghislaine Maxwell, who I knew before she was infamous. So I wrote a little bit of an expose there. And another one on Robert Durst, who I met in New York City in the 80s. And as you see the gold bar there, Nancy Grace, the queen of true crime, covered it on her podcast. So I give her a shout out right on my cover. Nice. And now I'm known as the king of true crime, William Steele. So we're going to be in the movie Silent Partners coming up here. And get ready to wrap this show up because we need to make room for trailers and some sponsors and stuff like that so we can get it on the TV show.
And real quick again, no Buc-ee's.
What's the status on all that?
There is stalemate. There's nothing going on. We got. They need to get a rezoning for the area. They're too big. Not happening right now. We got go with the petition. Go to change.org. Change.org. Look me up, Ignacio Esteban, or look up Stop Buc-ee's coming to Stafford, Virginia. Feel free to sign it like Bill has. Mary did. Great job here. We got over 1,500 signatures and counting. Keep it up, folks. We're really putting a lot of pressure on. And the Beaver himself, Applin III, might want to meet with us. I'll keep you posted.
Good. So real quick, Buc-ee's, as people know, is on the interstates all over this country. I've never stopped at one yet. I've been locked up
twice.
I've been out a little while, but I still haven't seen one. What I understand is in those type of areas, massive crime goes on in the parking lots, drug deals,
Who wants in a nice residential community, Bill, 120 gas pumps, 800 plus parking spots, and a convenience store the size of a Walmart?
So what Ignacio is referring to is that they're trying to build one abutting right adjoining his community, Stafford, Virginia, which is an affluent community, beautiful community. I know other people that live there, and it's not appropriate for there. You put it in kind of an out of the way place on the interstate where the people don't have to smell the fumes from the cars and the traffic. And it's like having an Olympic stadium in your backyard 24/7.
The 365, imagine Christmas Day at Christmas. They don't shut down. That is awful. That is just the worst thing you could have. The only thing worse than that, I said in one of the Board of Supervisors meeting, is maybe I had a monster pawn shop out there. That's the only thing worse I could think of than having a Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is okay. I've been there. I personally don't like the place. I think it's over congested, overpriced. The food's not. Remember, it's barbecue food from a gas station, folks. That's what you're getting. Barbecue from a gas station. It's grotesque. It is out of control. And the buck stops here. No Buc-ee's in Stafford.
As opposed to the food at the Silent Partners premiere, there's a very elegant menu being offered. Sarah DePazio. It's going to be at the Wick Costume Museum and Theater in Boca Raton, Florida. I went there the other night. I did some nighttime filming of the venue and the sign, and I put it up on my TikTok and a few other places. Cyril got it and put it on his page as well. So we're having the movie premiere there. I have a small piece of this movie. I'm sitting at a table playing poker with Dave Iacchevetti, the man who wrote the book that this movie is based upon. So Dave and I are in the same scene together. I thought I was going to be background, but some of my lines were a little, funny and sarcastic. Cyril told me he left them in. We'll see what happens. And but I'm
see if you made the cut or not. We'll see.
Yeah. So I'm having fun with it, and I'm helping promote it, and I'm friends with everybody involved. I also interviewed one of the biggest stars out there, who's in this movie, Gary Pastore. He's done a ton of mafia movies, and he was just on and finishing the editing process today. That should be up here momentarily. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. I will come to you live from Silent Partners premiere and during the dinner and during the events. We'll try to bring Ignacio on. On the
Yes, that'd be
25th,
nice.
we're looking at a few events here in Boca Raton to do my own event on the 25th, so I can start getting the advertising out. Maggiano's Italian restaurant is in high contention. I have a meeting with the executives today for their space, and if anybody's been to a Maggiano's, there's a few of them around the country.
Yeah, there are.
Chicago's got a beautiful one. It's old world Italian restaurant, beautiful decor, the ambiance is beautiful. Big black and white photos of people, you know, in Sicily and Italy and all this stuff. It's very, very nice restaurant. So they want me there pretty badly, and they realize that the people we're bringing there are going to.
Let me know, Bill. Let me know.
Yep. So everybody, thank you for joining us on this interesting show here, special edition, straight from Boca Raton, Florida. We're signing off.
Take care. Peace.